I'm joined now by our final guest of the day, WorldQuant University CEO, Daphne Kiss. Daphne, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start by explaining what WorldQuant University is.
Sure. So we are a non-for-profit, complete entirely online program in the data sciences. We have two discrete programs. The first is a master's in financial engineering, which for those who don't know is basically the intersection of financial management, data science, and computer science. And then a 2-year program. And then we also offer a intensive 16-week, 2-unit module in applied data science. And we've been doing this for a couple of years. Our programs are entirely free, completely online, instructor-led. And we're fulfilling the mission that talent is equally distributed, opportunity is not. And we're working to bring the opportunity to the talent.
So much talk at this event and all sort of finance-oriented events that I attend is around the rise of data science.
Yes.
And the importance of data in the investment process and in financial services at large. Where do you think we are in that evolution of incorporating data science into the financial services sector?
Yes, well, I would actually say that financial services has been long a beneficiary of what was used to be referred to sort of vernacularly as big data, and now has turned into data science. And I think we're in the very early stages of that. Certainly in finance, there's a lot of opportunity to use it in not just to evaluate and analyze and get a snapshot of what is now or what has been in the past, but of course is being increasingly used in a predictive capacity, and that's highly applicable, certainly in the world of finance. From our perspective as a nonprofit, we think there's a whole lot of other issues in a lot of other industries that may not have the kinds of resources that finance has, and the tradition of actually using technology in this way, in which there's huge opportunities to apply the data sciences and to educate people, whether it's in agriculture, which is, obviously there's infrastructure, health is a big discussion these days in terms of the application of data science. But, I like to say in an earlier iteration, everyone talked about devices. And then, you can just cover Africa with devices all over agricultural fields. And of course, what is the point? The point is to get data.
Right.
Well, what do you do once you have the data? You have to apply these analyses and scientific principles to it.
So you mentioned financial services, also other sectors, agriculture, healthcare. All of these areas have established cultures and established ways of doing things, and they attract the same type of people they've attracted in the past. How do you help these companies or these data scientists learn how to merge their cultures when they begin working together?
So certainly on our platform online, in the educational environment that we have, we're very big on collaboration and the idea of collaboration, and support students in doing that. So our program is built such that, one of the great joys is to have someone in Senegal collaborating in a learning environment with a student in Singapore and someone else in Sao Paulo, and they're coming together, bringing both their potential expertise and prior knowledge, as well, to your point, of their cultural orientation, I think is a huge opportunity. There's, as you know, there's been a lot of discussion around sort of bias in data science, et cetera. Right. So the more it is, we can bring these tools and these skills across cultures, across gender, the more we are likely to get actually more accurate and more truly predictive analyses to the field. But I guess I'd say one other thing, which is that I think also increasingly, data science has been seen sort of as a discrete area of study. And in the educational setting, I would say that one of the goals, I think, over time is not that we're trying, and this has come up particularly in the gender context. I think of data science as 21st century sociology. Okay. So if you think, for example, from a gender perspective, that sociologists, there's a long history of women being academics in sociology. So rather than turning those sociologists into data science, let's bring the data science education to sociology. Similarly, an agriculturalist, someone in the healthcare industry. How do you empower people who, have been health care, hospitalists, administrators? how do you help them get these skills so that when they're presented with the data, they actually can turn it into meaningful insights that result in better decisions.
Right. Question from our audience.
Sure.
You mentioned World Quant University offers a degree.
Yes.
Is that important, the degree? And is a college degree still important, do you think, for people entering the professional workplace? What if they've studied data science through another avenue and don't have a degree?
Sure. So I think I do think there's something a little bit American about this conversation. I think that outside the US, credential degrees are still very highly valued. I do think there's an opportunity, and we try and do this with our data science module, give an opportunity to people to get certified and to have some very contained skill set acquisition that then could be recognized by the market. I think over time, I think it's going to take a long time. I think the degree thing, we've been certainly many conversations here about the crisis in higher education and regendering the trust in higher education. But I think those models are certainly, they're up for grabs. But I also would say that, for our program, one of our goals is not only sort of to bring education, but we see ourselves at the intersection of higher education and training, in a sense.
Right.
And our program, which is, quite vocational in nature, the point is outcomes.
Right.
So again, we have access and we can bring the opportunities to the talent, and the opportunity is both an educational opportunity and then access to jobs. And I think the marketplace still values those credentials. I'd love for us to have this conversation. Could be as soon as 3 years from now, and the industry might view the proxies that they use to validate a knowledge base. Maybe those are up for grabs, and that'll be awesome.
Another question from our stream. World Quant University offers online and a digital method for education. Will we see more of that in 5 or 10 years? Will more
I think so.
of higher education be digital?
Absolutely, and it's absolutely a trend, and we see it. We see every Ivy League institution in the United States has some online offering.
Right.
Generally, they tend to be things that are ancillary, because there's a fear of cannibalizing what is core to the brand. On the other hand, institutions want to leverage their brand to offer online learning. I think one of the things that's increasingly going to happen is that it is getting elevated in quality. It's becoming more measurable. Outcomes are more measurable. And so the distinction between online and offline, I think, will fade over time. Though I will say one other thing, which is I think what I have found is that the students who work online, and in our situation, part of it is you can do it because it is asynchronous. You can do it on your own schedule. And so we actually have a sweet spot. About 40% of our students in our master's program are between 30 and 39 years of age. People who are in the workplace, have families. And online education, assuming it is of a high quality, offers people the opportunity to learn at their own pace when their schedules permit. And arguably the tenacity and the commitment and the grit to get through that is actually, from my perspective, those are the kind of people I want to hire.
That's an indication, absolutely.
Yes, exactly.
Well, Daphne, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.